I was never a special child. I was the quiet one who sat in the back of the classroom, watching others as they talked and laughed, while my fingers moved across my sketchbook as if it were the only way I could understand the world. Our house was small, very small, too narrow to contain my mother's silence and my father's frequent anger. I lived in a corner of it, a corner where light barely entered and where the air carried an old scent, like clothes left in a forgotten closet for years. Every day I returned from school trembling on the inside, not because anyone hurt me, but because no one noticed my existence at all. I pretended not to care, but the truth was that loneliness was eating me slowly, consuming my childhood without a cry or a protest. And in those days, I escaped into drawing. I drew faces I didn't know. I drew eyes that watched me. And sometimes I drew myself, but not as I was. I drew a version of me that looked sadder, quieter, and more observant. I didn't know all this would lead me to something far worse, worse than anything my childhood could have endured. It began one evening on a winter night when the wind was trying to rip my window off its hinges. I was sitting on the floor, my back against the wall, my sketchbook open in front of me, drawing a girl who looked like me, but with completely black eyes. And as I shaded the darkness around her face, I heard something I should never have heard. The sound of paper tearing. The sound was close, too close. I lifted my head slowly, my hand trembling, my eyes searching for the source of the sound. My other sketchbook, the one I left at the edge of the table, was open, and the page was moving, as if an invisible hand was flipping it. I froze. Every hair on my body stood up. I took one step forward, just one, before the sound came again. Tearing. This time it was clear. A full page had been ripped out. It fell to the floor, face down. I approached, breathing heavily. When I flipped the paper, it was the drawing of the girl that looked like me, my copy, but she didn't look the way I left her. She was smiling. A smile that wasn't mine. A wide, distorted, stretched smile. One that wasn't there when I drew her. I swear I left her expression neutral. I sat down for a moment, trying to convince myself it was imagination, exhaustion, stress, anything. But as I placed the page back on the table, I heard a whisper right beside my ear, so close that its breath touched my cheek. I'm not alone. The sketchbook fell from my hands. My heart nearly leapt out of my chest. There was no one in the room, no one. But I was no longer truly alone. Days passed as I tried to convince myself that everything was just a hallucination. But the whispers didn't stop. They came at night when the lights were off and the room grew unnaturally cold. Sometimes I saw a faint shadow reflected on my window, a shadow of me, even when I wasn't moving. And one day, as I prepared to sleep, I saw her. She was standing in the corner of the room. Yes, her. The version I had drawn. Same face, same features, same hair falling over my shoulders. But her eyes were black like coal. And her smile, that terrifying smile, was even wider. She spoke in a voice that sounded like mine, but broken, slow, as if forced through inhuman teeth. You were never alone. I've been with you for a long time. I collapsed to the floor in terror, my hand covering my mouth so I wouldn't scream. She didn't come closer. She didn't move. But her eyes watched every tremor in my body. The nights after she appeared were a constant nightmare. Every time I closed my eyes, she was there, standing at the edge of my bed, waiting for me to surrender. I started hearing her footsteps in the room, soft, silent, but cutting into my mind. Sometimes I felt my hair being pulled backward, as if her invisible hand was gripping me. One night, unable to sleep, I sat on the floor, breathing heavily, watching the room. She smiled, lifted her hand, and touched my face. She touched it. A coldness pierced through my bones, and a strange desire to give in to her. Every time she tried to enter my mind, I felt the loss of control. A part of me was slipping away, moving into her with every glance. I whispered with a shaking voice, "Who are you? What do you want from me?" She laughed, a long, soundless laugh vibrating in the air, trembling inside my chest. I was what you needed. I'm everything you refused to hear. Everything you buried inside, I felt it. She began recounting moments from my life, moments of weakness, tears, fears. She knew things no one knew. I tried to run, ran to the door, but it was locked, as if the room itself protected her. She followed with slow, steady steps, each one pressing against my heart. In a moment of silence, she whispered a truth that shattered me completely. I'm not just your reflection. I am every suppressed feeling, every fear, every ounce of loneliness. Everything you ignored, I saw it, and I grew from it. And now I'm here. Every night, every buried emotion, every hidden tear had strengthened her. I relived my childhood with her. Every painful memory, now more powerful. Every unfulfilled wish, every silence from my parents, every moment of invisibility fed her. I had created her, unintentionally, from my loneliness, from my innocent desire to be seen. Then I understood. Every attempt to escape the past only opened a door for her. Every confession, every memory gave her more life, more control over my body and soul. Now, every night I close my eyes, I see her face. Every day I wake up to the feeling of her hand on my cheek, her black smile stretching across my bedroom. Every time I tell this story, I hear the echo of her whispers inside my mind, saying, "There's still a part missing, and the day will come when I take you completely." I no longer know where I end and where she begins. My reflection in the mirror no longer reflects only me. Sometimes I see her black eyes staring back. Sometimes her twisted smile spreads across my lips. And I am trapped in a merciless silence, in a room that continues to create versions of me, stronger versions, waiting for me to give in. The final night, I can't no longer distinguish reality from dreams. Every day, every moment, I live half my life while the other half belongs to her. The real ending? The truth is, I never escaped. I am trapped. I am watched. And I am nothing but a small fragment of a being bigger than me. A being my loneliness created, that grew in deep silence until it became something I can neither face nor flee.